Ooh, how about that economy? Wow, really? I'm amazed that the entire country hasn't revolted yet. I really am. Everybody, not just Republicans and them independents. I'm talking about everybody. How ridiculous do things actually have to get before people stand up and say enough? I mean, really, this... Not really sure where to go with this one. Now you're being demanded that you go get the Fauci ouchie, the big poke, by your jobs. Thankfully, my job isn't demanding that we do it, but they're putting up these big incentives like $500 or $2,500 for they're going by teams, by groups all across the country. And if everybody in the group gets it, the ones that get it and are in the lowest numbered group get $2,500. They get a chance at $2,500. They don't actually get $2,500 guaranteed. So basically, if you've got 100 people on your team and you get poked twice, your name goes into a hat for you to win $2,500. It gets better. Hang on. I know I'm gonna be washed out as I don't know what. If you are on the second to the lowest percentage team, you get an extra week's paid vacation. I don't take the vacation I've got, so an extra week wouldn't do me any good, and I'm not taking the shot. So I'm going to be a hindrance in our group. I don't care, because there's all kinds of family history issues, including the fact that I've lost an uncle to this garbage. A bunch of reasons that it's just not happening. Second group, like I said, gets the vacation, the extra week's vacation. Third group gets an extra week's vacation and a week-long cruise, so you've got something to do while you're on that extra week off. Which I'll have to say the cruise is really tempting, because I just love going on cruises, but I'm not doing it. I could die from this, so it's not even an option. And but not done yet. It gets better. if the $2,500 opportunity and the week's vacation extra and the cruise aren't enough, there's another prize that's being given out for the teams. Brand new truck. Now, as shocking as that is, and my whole brain just about exploded when I heard this, as shocking as that is, and as much as that might change things dramatically for me, I still can't do it. Now, my manager, good as gold, beautiful person, love her to death. And the fact that I do, that's the reason that I don't give her any fits, or as few as I possibly can. Unfortunately, she just recently went through the same thing that I went through December last year. And I was trying to be empathetic with her and kind of sharing her pain. I know what she's going through. I know where she's at right now. I know emotionally the stuff that's hitting her. I still fight it off constantly. And I thought after 10 months that'd be it, but no. She lost her husband. It was the morning after they went for their second round. If you've got to ask what, you're an idiot, get off my channel. Said they went and got it done so they could just, out of just being responsible, trying to do the right thing and get it done and taken care of, to where they could just say, okay, we've done it. And then she went in the next morning to wake him up, and he's just completely dead. And my heart was just, when I found out she had lost him a week ago, my heart just sank. Because yeah, I've been there. That's exactly what I went through 10 months ago when my wife passed away. She's in a little better situation though. She's still got to go through all the garbage I went through. Her and her husband had gotten a divorce. Split everything up like divorced people do. And then turned around and got back together. It has to be one of the weirdest relationships ever. Either that or they were just really good friends, and that was enough. Or that became enough. But I didn't dig into that part of it, so I honestly don't know. I'm kind of just speculating at this point. But they've got a huge house, which she's already said is just way too much for her. they're downsizing. Now, unbeknownst to me, she lives in Georgia. North Georgia. To where it's not that much for her to drive to work in downtown Atlanta, North Georgia. Yeah. Kind of jealous. I miss home. I really do. And my best friend's talking about moving out of state. Why, I don't know. That's home. Of course, he's probably just tired of it. He's never lived anywhere else. He's 53 years old and he's been out of state. He's been out of the country finally. But he's never lived anywhere but Georgia. So, anyway, she is going to sell her house, downsize. He left her just enough life insurance to pay off the house, and she can make it kind of on her own while she's waiting to do all that. No will, just like with my situation. So everything's gonna go through probate, and just like my situation, she's got a child that, for whatever reason, was completely estranged the whole time. Past decade or so, and now that her husband's gone, she's wanting to be back involved in everything again. My situation's a little different on that count because I've got two, and yeah, this is another personal one, and I try to avoid those because I tend to let stuff out, but it is what it is. I'm not trying to do anything I'm not trying to hide anything anymore. It's just me. I don't have anything to worry about but me and my dogs. So if you want to come find me, come find me. Good luck. Hope you can dodge bullets. But point I'm getting at is she's had her vaccinations. She's had her shots, both of them, my manager. So she's in the running for all that. And of course I'm bringing her down. The good side of it is even she completely understands now why I have no desire to participate in that idiocy, because it was initially meant to keep you from getting the coof, and it doesn't. I've got 4 family members that got it, then got vaccinated, and then proceeded to get it again. So, yeah, not a big fan. If it doesn't prevent you from getting it again, why mess with it? That was its whole intent. And because it doesn't keep you from getting it again, why are all these people insisting that you get it? like mine and others offering up high dollar incentives or even small dollar incentives. Why? What the hell is in this thing that they're insisting so much that you take it, even though it doesn't do a thing that it's supposed to do? I'm baffled. And like I said, I'm just not participating in that mess because of physical things. And of course, that eventually is not going to be enough, and I'll probably lose my job just like all these healthcare people that have lost theirs for the same stupid reason. I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense. I've tried to make sense of it. Just rationalize it out. Why? What's the real idea behind it all if it doesn't work? Even the boosters that they're insisting people get don't work. But yet they're insisting that you get them all. But you only get to lose your job if you don't get the initial rounds. I've gone a year and 10 months without wearing a mask the right way, where it covers up everything. I have had to put on a mask for a week. I'll take that back, for 2 weeks. But I didn't wear it right. The one time that I put it on and wore it right while I was working, doing physical work, not just the brain work that I usually do, I ended up having to go outside and sit there with my head down around my knees, trying to catch my stinking breath for over an hour. Got lightheaded, got nauseous. Told them I'm not supposed to wear a mask because of my breathing issues. Now, granted, it don't seem like I've really got breathing issues to some people, but there's a reason I had a red band around my earplugs in the service. I'll leave it at that. Those of you that have served will know what that's about. Anyway. I'm baffled. The only thing that I can figure, based on all that I've seen and heard, is that that's the government's way of controlling everything you say and do. And now they're wanting to dig their hands into your bank accounts and everything else and make sure that they watch every transaction you make. Of course, they're saying, oh no, only transactions over $600. Bull. You believe that? I've got a bridge to sell you. I don't get it. I really don't. Unless there's something in that shot that they're just not telling people about, that will either alter or control you, there's no other good reason for them to insist so hard and throw money out so much. Idiot. You don't get to come over just because you put your blinker on, jackass. But there's no reason for them to insist so hard yes, I'm being very careful with my words. But there's no reason for it that makes any sense at all. With the current explanation that we've been given. But anybody that knows, and I'm not doing the conspiracy theory thing. I avoid conspiracy theories. I've got a friend that, actually I've got a couple of friends, they're all into that. They're sitting there telling me, well, Trump's been running the U.S. all along. No, he ain't. Because if he was running the U.S. and it's turned into this kind of mess, I don't want that man back in office. And they're trying to tell me that, I mean, I've heard some really far-fetched ones. I mean, really far-fetched. And I'll listen to them. But I know doggone full well, as soon as they start talking, and something that doesn't sound even remotely close to right, I'll listen to them. I'll let them say what they're going to say. But there ain't no way in hell I'm believing any of it. And I'm sure not going to react on it. Right now, I'm on my way to Bowling Green at 90 miles an hour. Of course, I've only got a half hour to get there. Because I've had a setback with my RV, sort of. And I'll explain. Went out to drain my tanks last night. And since it's been almost 5 months since I started using my water filter, it was time to change it. I'll show you here. Those water filters are supposed to be changed out every 90 days. Now, this is the one that does the 2 times the filtering, and it's the big boy. They're $30 a piece. I put it on my RV just like I did the other one, in the exact same configuration. Went out to the curb, to the meter, and turned the water back on again. Evidently, I didn't turn it on with my mouth twisted right, because the filter blew up. And it made a hell of a mess, which I will demonstrate here. Now, if you look at that picture, you'll notice there's a red arrow on it. That red arrow is where my water inlet, aka the hose from the city water, is supposed to hook up. If you look real close, you'll notice there's nothing for it to hook up to anymore. Because when my filter blew up, it busted off the plastic water connection. Part of the reason I'm hauling butt to Bowling Green to Camping World right now, which this is their corporate headquarters, or one of them, is because they actually have one that's metal to replace those RVs, there's also a holding tank. I believe mine to be an 80-gallon holding tank for fresh water. Now you can't pressurize that and fill it up fast. That's the only downside to it. But you can fill that tank up and go out in the middle of a field somewhere, set up your RV, and still have water. You can still have power too, but it's limited because you're only on a battery backup unless you got a solar setup, which I don't intend to put in mine. It would be nice, but it's expensive. And I don't have that kind of money to invest. So, anyway, I filled up my holding tank. Then I got to looking at my other connections and settings and fittings and everything in there. I got to wondering, I don't know how full or empty my Blackwater tank, which is the one all your poop goes in, has ever been. I never fully cleaned it out. And there was stuff in it when I got it because I had to empty somebody else's. The fact that I hook up to a septic tank and I had a brand new hose made that not so much an issue. So I hooked up to it, pulled the old cord or pulled the old valve and just let her go. Of course, not a whole lot came out. Now, over the past 3 months that I've lived in this RV, every time I dump it, it's thick brown when I first start, which means there's a lot of solids in it. Yeah, solids. That's a good term for it. I'm trying to remember other people's videos and what they call it. But towards the end, it thinned out. It went from big clumpy dark brown to light brown. Now, I know this is kind of disgusting. If you got a weak stomach, shut the video off. Because it's going to get worse. But I'd never washed the tanks out. And mine actually has the extra valve there that you hook the hose directly into. And it goes into the tank. There's sprayers inside the Blackwater tank. So I hooked this thing up after I got my extra tank full, my freshwater tank. I put I saw something flopping around in my bed. After I got my freshwater tank full, I put the water hose into the other connection. Turn that sucker on. I let it go for about 15, maybe 20 minutes, and I pulled the valve. Looked like it always does, nothing different. So I shut it, left the thing running, another 15, 20 minutes, pulled the valve. Again, looks like it always does, nothing different. Dang, this thing must have really had some stuff impacted on the inside of it. colors, almost gray, or light brown with a little green tinge to it. I was like, well, it keeps getting lighter and lighter. Maybe I'm finally knocking some stuff loose. So I ran the thing again. About another 20 minutes. Pull the old cord. It wasn't light brown. This time it came out thick, chunky, dark brown. Which tells me then it knocked all that stuff loose in the tank that was in there before I got it. The stuff that didn't just wash out with what I normally dump every week. And yes, I do mine once a week. But like I said that last time, it came out just thick. Like, dang. And I saw the great big clumps rolling down through there, paper and all. And I knew you got to use a certain kind of paper, toilet paper in an RV. I don't. But I do fill the tank up with enough liquid that the toilet paper that I do use, which isn't like the thickest monster stuff, will still fall apart in the water and come out with the regular water, just flow right out. So I didn't add to any of the stuff that was impacted on the bottom of the tank. But the fact that I ran that flush as many times as I did, it finally, after about 6 times of running it, finally came out clear. I was like, I guess I've done it. Checked my gray water tanks. They only took a couple of times to get all the goop out of them. Of course, the gray water tanks are just your shower water, your laundry, and your sink water. So, not that big a deal. But, oh my Lord. I was kind of surprised. Anyway, I'm here at the Gander Mountain Camping World, whatever the heck it is. I'll be right back. Now, what I have and what I need a new one of is this. What I got to get me by and it should get me by like gangbusters, is this. You hook your hose in right here, but I have a problem because mine has a female thread on it. They don't have female threads. And they told me that they don't sell the double male adapter. Well, I did a little digging, and to show you how inept some of these people here are, I got this. See, there's 2 male connectors there. Actually, there's 3. The bottom one has a cap on it, so that kind of rules that one out unless you absolutely need it for something else. Bypass valve to redirect the water. Now, this was just something that I came up with walking 1 aisle over from where I got that inlet. I'm not gonna just totally mangle this package because I got a feeling this is a little smaller and I may have to take it back. So I'm keeping everything in the package except the valve. Oh, look at that. Damn, I should get an award for this. Look at that. Works perfect. Of course, I'll have to throw some Teflon tape on it, but they got some of that in that package. I ought to get an award for this. Now to find out how this valve works. Okay, it's open when the blade is that way and diverts down to this when it's straight down. Take this cap off just to verify that fact. Yep. Nothing. Okay. So we'll put this cap back on it. Unless, of course, I wanted to get creative with how I mounted this, which I don't. My water lines are in there in a specific this will actually come in handy for more than one reason. To keep my lines from freezing, because it is getting cold. It's that time of year. Ho ho ho. I can go out and shut that off at night. That's gonna suck. I'm gonna have to fill up a big bottle of water so I can get my coffee in the morning. I am getting into drinking coffee now. Don't know why it took me all these years, but it's become a thing. Of course, I only like cappuccinos and frappuccinos. Regular coffee, got no time for it. But yeah, works perfect. So they were going to send me to Home Depot for the heck, I'm not backing all the way out there. They're going to send me to Home Depot for the double male adapter. Now this whole lot is full of RVs. Come to one of these lots and ask them how many of them are for sale. Think you'll get a surprise. There's not very many of them that are actually for sale. Most of them are already sold. Even now. I'm baffled. She said the ones across the front of the store are displays, and half of them are sold. We've got a big bay over next to the highway side of the store, and they've got a bunch of them just crammed in there, and all those are sold. She said they've got maybe 5 in the parking lot, and their parking lot's not as full as it has been, but it's pretty full. So there may be 5 out there in the actual parking lot that are for sale. And one of them's a motorhome, not a fifth wheel or pull behind. Keep screwing with this economy. People are realizing they don't have to have a mortgage. They don't have to live in them expensive houses. Most of them, like me, can live quite comfortably in that little trailer that you can pick up and pull behind your truck or van or whatever and not have an issue. Now, I've only got one concern at the moment. I don't remember my male adapter or my male connection being that big. It looks, because it's in a PEX line, and the connector's not much bigger than the PEX line, and that's 1/4 inch PEX tubing. So I am going to go to I'm going to the Home Depot anyway while I'm up here, and I'm going to get a step down just in case, because I want my water hooked back up. Living out of the tank, the freshwater tank, is okay, but I don't want to wear my pump out needlessly. Plus, I'd like to put some antifreeze in it so that it doesn't freeze up over the winter. I want to empty it out completely and dump antifreeze in it, just to keep it from getting damaged, because I'm going to run it through the pump too, so that there's some in there as well. Had the biggest problem trying to figure out why I couldn't get water to come through that the tank, from the tank. I filled that sucker up 3 or 4 times. I could have swore I had, but I used a high pressure feed to do it, and the high pressure feed was going It basically was just boiling back out at me, and didn't solve the problem at all. Couldn't get any cold water to come out. It just spit and sputter and spit and sputter and spit and sputter, and I'm like, this thing filled to overflowing. There's a reason it's not coming out. What the heck is it? Tried it, watched a YouTube video, and they're saying, well, turn on the hot water. I'm like, okay, well, let's try that. Hot water just spitting and sputtering, spitting and sputtering. Then I happened across one guy's video where he was talking about winterizing your RV, and about how when you're ready to winterize it, you have to turn the valve on the bottom of your tank to drain the tank, and the light bulb went off. Valve was open. Now, what messes with me is the tank is always shown empty, even when there was water in it still. Not sure how it got in there, where it came from, or what. I'm assuming it's the valve that switches from city water to fresh water that actually was just let a little bit of water in there, enough to get through the faucets. And I was pretty sure that I hauled this RV home with at least one tank, one of my gray tanks, slammed full, and all the rest of them empty. That wasn't the case, because I drained all 3 tanks, flushed them out, and that same tank still shows full. There's not a thing in it. I mean, there may be a little water at the bottom, but that's it. So the sensor for one of my tanks, the gray tanks, is just gone. Those things are really sandwiched in there too. When you get inside the basement, that's the part that goes underneath the floor and everything, under your stairs. There's about, I'd say my Blackwater tank is probably 80 gallons. It goes all the way across the RV from one side to the other, and it's about that tall, about a foot tall. So I'm estimating that to be about 80 gallons. It's the one that does the bathroom sink, the shower, and the laundry, the wash and dryer, which I'm still in love with. I'm going to show it to you. I haven't shown it yet, but I'm going to show it. I spent $1,500, well, it was $1,700 when after taxes and shipping and everything else. And then, of course, I had that whole fiasco with them sending it to me. Once I got it installed and everything, ran it, the whole weekend, that whole first weekend I had it, I didn't get it till Friday afternoon. That whole weekend, I spent washing clothes. One load after another load after another load. Wash them till it was done, shut it off prematurely because it's supposed to shut off in its own time after it cools down. I wasn't giving it a chance. I'd shut that sucker off, wait for the 2 clicks for the door to unlock, open that sucker up, pull them clothes right out, fold them up, put them away, throw another load in, shut it, start it back up. Typically after I got the clothes out and started washing, or started throwing another load in, it had cooled down quite a bit. And of course I wasn't right dead on top of it. I was still playing online the whole time I was doing all this, so there was times that it actually cooled down quite a bit before I got to it. But regardless, it was one load after another. And I had quite a bit racked up by the time they finally got me this stupid thing. I still think that was probably the best money I've spent this year. Because every load I wash at my home would have cost me anywhere, well, I would go every 2 weeks to the laundromat, and it was anywhere from $50 to $80 every single time. Now, some of you can figure that up quickly. Some of you are like me and you're like, okay, and yeah, that was quite a bit of daggone money. When I sat down and figured up how much I had already spent on laundry by the time I ordered this washer, I could have bought it twice this year already. I never in a million years would have imagined that that's how much just doing laundry costs people. Could have bought it twice. Could have bought it 3 times now. Well, not really. Close. By the time this year is over with, I will have been able to have purchased that washing machine 4 times. So in the event that it craps out on me and the warranty doesn't cover repairing it, I'll just buy another one. Not too awful upset if it, I mean, because I'm not exactly leaving it set for days and days and days without being used either. It's like, even though it's on the freshwater tank right now, I'll go home and wash a load tonight from this past week. That's about all I've got to cover to catch y'all up to date, and I know this thing's going to be long as heck, which means it's going to take forever to process. I'll cut it down and cut out all the dead air and no talking points and other garbage. But you guys be safe out there. Don't let them get to you. If you got a conviction, if you want to get that vaccination, go for it. If you don't want to get it, don't. But the ones of you that don't need to stand up for yourself. I know it's not good to change jobs frequently, but right now, I think people will understand if you have to. still can't believe all those healthcare workers were being fired or escorted off their job because they weren't doing it. That just blows my stinking mind. She said 3 lights. It's right here. God. Them people at Camping World don't know a dang thing. They don't know what they got on their shelves. And they gave me directions. I'd have ended up 5 miles down the road that way. It's the first daggum light right here. Wow. Really? Of course, now I've got to look to see where it's actually at because... Oh, right there it is. I'm just baffled. I don't get how you tell somebody something is somewhere and then they try to go there and it's a mile back this way. Unless there's another one 2 lights down. I give up. Anyway, I thank you guys for watching. Hope it was kind of entertaining. If not, sorry. Give me another shot later. I'll try to do better. I'm lying. This is as good as it gets. Where's their veteran parking? Don't tell me this store don't have any. Yes, I take full advantage of that because it's usually good parking spots. And all they've got is the touch-free parking where you don't have to actually go in and touch the stuff in the store. Huh. Okay, well, I guess they don't care about veterans at the Bowling Green Home Depot. At least not like the one in Franklin, anyway. There's one right in front. That'll work. Anyway, as I was saying, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you have a question, comment, or concern, leave it down below, and I promise you I will answer. Thank you for watching, and have a good one.